I thought I'd show you all. And this is not really something you have to do, it's just something I've always done because, I don't know, just always liked it. There are reasons I will talk you through, but I've just got an 18-inch opus tile there. And I'm going to put a little stopper at the 18. I like using that so I can still look over it and get the 24 anyway, but I'll explain that later anyway. But this is how I work mine till I get the, then I start working my templates and jigs down from there. So one of the reasons is when I'm putting the tiles in, I get to check them against cut edge. So your first checkpoint is there and you know it's square, you know, you're pretty much checking it all as you go. So, but the reason why I hope you're getting all this, it's the shear again, because I know I've done a few videos on it, but obviously not everyone gets to see them. But if you're getting one of these gundlachs, you've got to start learning why you've got them, and it is these nuts on the side here. Now the reason I've noticed it, I was speaking to another fitter last night, he's got a gundlach and that lot, and basically what you've got to realise is that every single tile that you're cutting, regardless of make or whatever, it can be different. You know, the cutting, the shear needs to be altered for nearly all of them. And the reason why I'm saying it is I've got a load of Van Gogh there that I thought I cut down. And I've been cutting down a load of Antico recently, so the blade's been as it is to do that. But when I started cutting down the Van Gogh, it was completely different how I set the shear, because they're softer and I was getting this little rind on the back. So I had to really muck about with the shear a little bit to start off with. But I only really ever fit, well, I only ever fit Antico and Cardine, to be honest. But all my design stuff has always been in Cardine before. But I've got a collection of tiles here, different makes, different whatever, and I just thought, well, look, we'll just run through it. And you'll see the importance of what I mean with the shear, as in the difference in the cuts in between each, the difference for what it'll be for each tile. So the lighter the tile, people don't know, is that sometimes they're going to be harder because the pigment in the dye is harder. So, you know, lots of these things have got to be considered. But if you've got, the best way to explain it is a pair of scissors. You know, if the blade, like in the other ones, is dead flat across and hits the whole lot at once, it's a lot more difficult. You're not going to be able to get the set. You need to adjust the shear for almost like different tiles when you're cutting them. Different lengths, the shorter ones, the shear's got to be different. So you'll be able to hear it. I'm hoping you'll be able to hear it. So what we're going to do, we'll start off with an Antico. Now, your shear, when it comes, I can't remember what the factory settings are now, but Neil taught me once, you know, he said there was 2 opus one end, 3 the other end. You know, so it's not that much of a shear, but it is slightly, and I don't really see the difference between the 2 sides and a lot of it, so I've always done mine over that side. But you know, you've got a lift bar on the back of these guillotines when you get them. You want to take that away because that's for carpet tiles, but keep it just in case you do them. So if we start off with the Antico, now first cut, I'm going to put it across and you're going to look for this bulge at the front and the sound of it when it goes through. See, that's good. See, now that's set fine on that, but say if the blade was dead level across, starting to get a bit harder, isn't it, you know? The more level it is, if that's hitting, so if that comes up a bit more, so this will be like what you're getting with the other ones. Listen, it's harder, isn't it? You can see it's, see, that is not good. So for these cuts, if I was cutting across that way and that one, for these sort of cuts, I'd be like, no, one end up, one end down, quarter turn. Still fighting me there. Just release this one out, should be there now. It's coming through a bit more. There she goes. You start listening to her. She's stopping fighting, you're coming through. There she goes. Little bit of a burr on the back of that one there, so that means I've just got to set her down further to pass that through a bit more. That's what I found with the Van Goghs. So that's sorting that one out. But if it was a narrow cut, then they're always going to be fine all day, aren't they, with wood planks, because it's not really a hell of a lot there to cut. But even there, look, it starts, you can start hearing it clank and bang. But let's move on to whatever one this is. Now, across this way will be one way of cutting it, wouldn't it? But what if you were going all the way across the blade? So it's going to be much longer, isn't it? So we'll start off with it pretty flat. You know, you can almost, that's hitting that in first, isn't it? Still, see, the shear is so important. Even the small shear makes a difference, but on these ones, that's actually okay. No, see now? So I can feel that fighting against me, so I know I've gone past that point now, and listen to her. So we want to get rid of that noise. Down, up, still there, down, up. Oh no, 2 up, good twist down. But it's because it's the length of the cut, you know, spin around. And she still wants a shear, so this one must be a very good lighter tile, remember? So we'll just keep twisting it until she starts to go through with less. There she goes. So that one will be that one, but it was completely different setup to what we wanted with the Antico. So get these ones here. The wood plank. See that one. This one's a very, you know, you can put that right down and this one right down, because it's quite a, well, it's a hard-ish, but there's not much to it. There she goes. You will feel her, and you'll feel any wind on the back if you're going to get it. If you've got to tweak her down a bit. Not so much that you get the crank, but you want that blade passing through. So now that's a nice clean edge. Put it that way though. You know what I mean? Because it's more surface. So with more surface, you've got to bring this one up, tweak her down, and there she goes. So that, you know, every different tile can be different. So, you know, you could be playing this thing like a fucking banjo. So look at the shear on it now. So that was like a variety of different ones, but this is what the gundlachs do, you know, and this is why they're better for the design work. It's because you can just do multiple cuts. But I'm going to set up quickly how I would do the dreaded 9 to 3s. Now, I don't mind in the Van Gogh because you can split them down and get 2 cuts out the 7, whereas if you had a 6-inch, it's a bit harder to try and cut it dead in half. So first one, she can go in there. Just to check my 18. Now I'm going to run a Van Gogh quickly off of my 18. And now, I did have some Anticos. You want to drop it down to a 9. I'll use these 2 4.5s to get that down to a 9 or something like that. I'll get the other tiles in, so like all videos it's going on. Put 2 4.5s in there. Slide my Van Gogh back in there, check everything's square. Run her off. Do you see that? We'll get to that in a minute. Push her back. This is going to be my jig for the 9s, okay? Cut some off of this. Cool. Bring her in. Check all the way along there. And then I'm going to use my 3 spacer. I've got some tiles, but I use them as well. To make sure she's right, I'm not putting her right the way across. I'll adjust the shear because I just want it to go through a bit better. There she goes. So this is the like sort of thing I would have set up for a 9x3 if I was doing them. So with the Van Goghs, with 9s, you are going to sacrifice a bit of plank. I've done it before, made them into 12s because they're 4-foot plank and they've just gone underneath a little bit. But we'll stick to the plan here, how I would do it if I was going to be doing a 9x3. Let's just get rid of that. First cut, straight away, I've got that burr on there on the back, so that means this has got to come down. But if that's going to come down, so's that end. This is what I had before. And it's only like with the Van Gogh though. Bit hard. And there she goes. Okay, so now once I've got that all sussed and I'm happy with that, how that's working. How I'd do mine, instead of running, I'd be running all my 9s on first, but I'd go just past my 18 and I'd cut a fresh edge on it. Fire it through, bring her back. There's my checkpoint to see, because obviously this was the factory edge. Run that cut off, turn that round. I've already got my factory edge there. Push her up. There's my X checkpoint there. And then when I want to bang them onto the freeze, I can turn it in there, can't I? Once I've got my 3s there set up, I'll have a light little jig at the back just to check them. Something like that, especially if I'm doing crossheaders and that. So you could just have different reference spots, so then you have all there. But you'd stick all this, wouldn't you, if you were going to be doing 9x3s on the whole pattern, because it's a hell of a lot of cutting, boys. But I might just do a phase through here and then swap it over to 12s, I think. And just do maybe a 9x3 down here, but really it was to show you how it goes up against the borders. So I'll do a few to show you, you know, how we split them down, and then I'll come back later for the video when it's all done, sort of thing. Again, so this one is just my own preference. I go just past the 2 because you've got the weight with the Van Gogh, so I want the fresh edges. So I'll run that one off. There's my fresh edge, push her through. Oops. Bring her back. There's the 9s. So you've already got your edge there. Check, because honestly you notice it straight away. It's the silly little things that you can pick up on quickly, and if you're checking it at those little spots like that, you start knowing which one's a rough edge, like this one's not a cut edge, so I'll have that faded line. I think I might be able to zoom in on the other one, but see, when it's drawn now, I've got that dark line there, but I've got to try and do this one-handed here now. Put a cut edge, and I get to check it twice. So, I'll stop this and then do a part